Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to my channel. Today, I'm going to be walking you through really a simple step-by-step process that I personally follow when we talk about doing AI audits. And so tonight or today, we'll specifically be looking at how I'd run a simple AI audit step by step. But the truth is, most businesses they don't need more AI tools. They essentially need more clarity on where automation actually fits in their business and will actually make a difference. This is how I run simple AI audits, step by step. For context, for those of you that are new here, this channel is all about using AI responsibly for leverage and helping you leverage your business, get time back, run more efficiently. Most people, when they hear the words AI audit, they assume it's super technical, but really it's not. An AI audit is really just an exercise on clarity. That's the way that I see it. It's really about understanding how work flows in a business and where time, energy, and attention are leaking. And most importantly, where your money is leaking, right? That's typically tied to your time as well. Only after that does AI become useful. When I run an audit, I'm not trying to run an audit to try to find, I'm not looking to automate everything, right? I'm not trying to find every single thing in the business that I can automate. I'm typically looking for three specific signals when I'm running a simple audit. And this typically looks like, typically the first thing I'll do is I'll map out how work actually moves through the business. That's number one. Where do those leads come in? Where are those coming from? After the leads come in, what happens next? You know, who touches what, right? When those leads come in. Where are the handoffs actually happening once those leads come in? Where does the work stall? We call that bottlenecks or pain points. Where's the pain at, right? Where are we getting stuck when the work is moving through the business? I'm really looking for friction. That's basically what I'm looking for, right? If nobody can really explain, if nobody can clearly explain the workflow, that's already a signal for me. Automation only works when the flow is visible and not just to one person, but to all folks within the business. Once the workflow is clear, I typically look for something a little bit more specific. And this brings me to the second step. And I'm usually looking at repetition in this second step. So I'm looking for things like, are we copying and pasting data between systems? Are we sending the same emails over and over and over again? Do we have to update statuses manually? Are we creating tasks in the old school way by hand? Really anything that's repeats on a weekly basis is a true candidate for AI automation. And then one of the big things I also look for is what I call human glue. And this is where people are actually acting as the bridge between tools. So, that can look like, forwarding emails, copying and pasting notes, reminding other people about tasks that they need to complete. Whenever a person's job is primarily moving information, automation is probably a good candidate. That's probably where automation belongs. That's, and it's funny, people always say, if you talk to managers of companies or owners, typically you'll hear, hey, I got people problems. Well, you really don't have people problems. You got system problems. That's kind of the way I look at that. So um, that brings me to the third step that I'm typically looking for when I'm doing a simple AI audit. It's where long-term leverage usually lives. This is where I look for trap knowledge. And this could typically, look like processes that live in somebody's head that only they know, right? Answers that are buried in inboxes, proposals that are rewritten from scratch every single time you get a new client, a new customer, right? Super repetitive, right? Trainings that you deliver that are not documented, right? this creates inconsistencies in your team when you're training and you never document anything, right? So most businesses already have the answers. They just recreate them over and over and over and again. And this is where AI is extremely good at capturing and reusing that institutional knowledge that you have as a business. And once you figure out how to leverage that, this is where work starts compounding and really starts to act as leverage when you layer AI on top of a clear system. And so, you know, here's here will be my key takeaway around a simple AI audit. They don't start with tools. You don't just go in and just slap on a bunch of tools. You got to start with clarity first, right? That's where a really good audit starts. Is you got to be clear on where the work is happening. When you understand the flow of the work, the friction and the repetition, automation becomes obvious. And then you don't waste time building things that nobody uses, right? It's nothing more disheartening for a business owner than to invest, hundreds of thousands of dollars, pretty big investments in some cases where people are having folks come in and put AI into their business and they didn't really diagnose and understand how the work actually happens. And so that becomes a big waste of time, a big waste of money. And that's where you typically hear folks saying, hey, AI doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for my business. And that's because we didn't get any clarity right up front to understand where AI and automation actually made sense, right? So that's the key takeaway. Hey, let's get clarity first, and then we look and see what tool stack actually works for your business based on your workflows, based on the friction that you have. This is exactly how I approach AI audits, not to automate everything, as I said earlier, right? But to identify the few areas where automation actually creates leverage. If you're exploring AI and want to be intentional about it, I've linked down below a simple AI efficiency snapshot that I typically deliver when I first start working with businesses. That's usually the right starting point when you're looking at how to, or even if you're thinking about if it's worth exploring AI to put into your business. The other thing I wanted to mention too is if you are interested in automations in your putting in automations in your business, and that can look, a lot of different ways, right? Automatic email campaigns, AI agents, anything AI related that you can do with automations. One of my favorite tools is GoHighLevel. So you can look at that link down low and you can check out GoHighLevel. It's a great tool for all different types of automations. One-stop shop for small businesses and very economical too. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.